Master Windu. I take it General Grievous has been destroyed then. I must say you're here sooner than expected.
In the name of the Galactic Senate of the Republic, you're under arrest, Chancellor.
Are you threatening me, Master Jedi?
The Senate will decide your fate.
I am the Senate.
Not yet.
It's treason, then.
Hey everybody, it's Spalding Space here, back with our last canon Star Wars novel review. Thank God. We only have this one, and then we're off to the races with the post-Return of the Jedi content. So, the book we're going to be reviewing today is Star Wars Thrawn Treason. Now, this is the third book in the new Thrawn trilogy. Now, if you're new to the channel, I did a review on the last two new canon Thrawn books, if you want to check them out. I had about, sort of mixed feelings about the second one. The first book is amazing, but if you want more than that little recap, go ahead and watch those videos. But today, we're here to talk about this new Thrawn book, and it's more like the second one than it is the first, but we'll get into that later. First, I just want to say there aren't going to be any spoilers throughout the first half of this review. I'll make it very clear when I'm going to jump into spoilers, so right now you are safe. Before I get into the review first, I just want to say that we just created a new Instagram account for the channel. It's called Space Spalding. I know it's confusing, I'm Spalding Space, but it's called Space Spalding. I'll put the link down in the description below. We're just going to be posting little behind the scenes things and updates on sort of what I'm reading and how our reviews are going. I tried to make updates on the channel thing, but I think you have to have 1,000 or 10,000 subscribers or something to do that. So I wasn't able to make the little posts on YouTube, so I decided to make the Instagram. So if you want to check that out, go ahead and follow us on Instagram. But without further ado, let's begin. So let's contextualize where this novel takes place. It again, unfortunately, takes place in the middle of Star Wars Rebels, right near the last season or so. I didn't really watch the show, but that's sort of what I've ascertained from a lot of that. There's a lot of references to Star Wars Rebels. I didn't really get it, but it can be ignored and sort of brushed aside. As I will mention, it's kind of a mistake to have it in the middle of Star Wars Rebels, especially, and this isn't a spoiler, I haven't even watched the show, but Thrawn's fate is sort of uncertain at the end of Star Wars Rebels, and Timothy Zahn knew that, so the way, the time in which he had to write Thrawn, he didn't have a lot of creative, room to do anything, so it really, really shows with this book. But let's move on to the characters. So first we have, obviously, Thrawn. Now, Thrawn, as usual, is a fantastic character. Luckily, he has more to do in this book than he did in the last novel. I felt like that was sort of split between Anakin and Padme and then to Thrawn, and even then he just wasn't at top Thrawn game. But in this book, he is, and thank God, he is the saving grace of this book. He has his, traditional investigative, Sherlock Holmes ways, and Thrawn is just fantastic. Also, we have the return of Eli Vanto, who is one of my favorite characters from the first Thrawn book. He wasn't in the second one, but he is back. And again, he doesn't really have as much to do. He's not really with Thrawn, so I kind of wish that they were together because I really enjoy their dynamic. They're sort of separate through a lot of the book. But, it was interesting to see him back, and I really, really enjoyed his character. Next, we have a new character, or she was in the epilogue of the first book, Admiral Ar'alani. Now, if you've read Star Wars Outbound Flight, she is in that book. And as are a lot of Chiss within this novel. There is, like a whole army of Chiss, which is super interesting to see Thrawn with his own people, as well as working with the Empire. It was just, I was really, really waiting for it, and, it kind of paid off. There are so many Chiss in this book, it almost, and I don't want to sound racist, but it almost seemed like Blue Man Group. Thrawn Man Group, Thrawn Man Group. Okay, so although that was a little racially tinged, that pretty much does it for the main characters. There is a return of Captain Farah, who I enjoyed from the last two books. There is a new character, Ronan, who is like mini Director Krennic. He has a little cape, which is really adorable. And then there is Admiral Savitt, and he's one of the new characters as well. And I found his character pretty intriguing as well. Then there are little cameos from the Emperor. He is in the book for about 5 seconds, even though he's on the cover of the book. It is a really cool cover. It's just, I don't really know why he's there. It kind of misled me. I was just waiting for him to actually do something in the book, but whatever. Grand Moff Tarkin's in there for about 5 seconds, as is Director Krennic. So that pretty much does it for the characters. But we are here to talk about the plot and how it sizes up against the other 2 books, because that is what's important. So the plot is not that great. In my opinion, it's slightly better than Thrawn Alliances, but nowhere near what Thrawn, the first book in the trilogy, was. It's an interesting premise, but it just seems really discombobulated. Basically, Thrawn is tasked with trying to find out why a bunch of Minok things are attacking this Death Star supply station. Thrawn wants to secure funding for his TIE Defenders, which I think are mentioned in Star Wars Rebels, although I haven't seen the show. So he needs to find out why these Minocs are attacking in 7 days, or else he doesn't get his funding. And that's pretty much the basic premise, which I found really interesting. I think Thrawn works the best whenever he's uncovering mysteries and finding out twists and outsmarting people. And there is there are moments of that in this book, but unfortunately, it's dumbed down by all of this space combat that isn't really interesting, as well as some B plots that just aren't really needed and seems to pad the book up to a certain amount of pages. And this is just a sort of a minor, sort of thing I have with the book, is that it looks like it's just the length of the first Thrawn book. It's like 420 pages. It looks the same, but the font is so much bigger and spaced out more. So it just looks like he was trying to reach a certain page limit and was just putting everything he could and then enlarge the font so he could meet that page limit. That's just what it seemed to me. This book just didn't have that much to offer. And I mentioned this a lot in my previous review, so I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I think it's important for me to talk about it, is that due to Thrawn being present during the Star Wars Rebels show and him being in this book sort of in between episodes, Timothy Zahn was really limited with what he could do. And basically Thrawn has, in between an episode of Star Wars Rebels to have this whole book, which makes the book so inconsequential because he can't do anything of importance. And as Star Wars fans, we know that TIE Defenders aren't in the original Star Wars movies, and that the Death Star is, and that Grisks aren't in them in the original Star Wars movies. So every conflict in this book is just so inconsequential, and it's really hard for me to get into it as much. And that's not even a spoiler. I knew what was going to happen by the end of this book as soon as I sort of saw the inciting incident. So that's really unfortunate. I'm going to end that rant there because I could go on for years talking about the problems that Zahn had by putting Thrawn here, but you can watch the last review on that. So yeah, that's pretty much the whole plot. There are some certain things that I'll mention later. I just feel like if I were to distill this entire book down to a single word, I'd say shoehorned. A lot of characters and plot devices seem shoehorned in the book to reference previous books. Like the character of Admiral Ar'alani, she really has nothing to do in this book other than be Admiral Ar'alani from Star Wars Outbound Flight. I mean, there's no reason she needed to be in this book. It just seemed like it was hearkening back to Outbound Flight and to give Eli a chance to be in this book again. And I love Eli, and he does some cool things, but he doesn't need to be in this book. There were just a lot of nods to the last book just to make it feel like it was connected, but it really wasn't. And it hurts me to say that because I love Timothy Zahn and I love Thrawn, and I said that in my last review, and I'm saying it again. It really doesn't pay off. So yeah, a lot of characters and a lot of plot devices are shoehorned. Oh, who are you? Oh, I'm Admiral Ar'alani of the Chist Ascendancy.
Oh, great. So, why are you here?
Oh, I was in Outbound Flight. It was really successful.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So what are you gonna be doing here?
I was in Outbound Flight. That it was a really successful book. Outbound Flight was awesome. So that's why I'm here.
But like, why are you here though?
Remember Captain Pelion? Everybody loves Captain Pelion, right? He was really successful. Well, Captain Pelion, he's mentioned here.
But like, why is he in the book?
Just and remember the Grisks?
No.
Yeah, neither do I. Okay, so that's pretty much the whole plot without really spoiling anything. When I get into spoilers, I talk about a lot of things because I think that the end of this book is really, really strong, but I don't want to spoil it. So I'm just going to talk about things that I really liked and things I didn't like. Obviously, and I say this every time, I really enjoy Timothy Zahn's writing style. It's very easy to read. It makes a lot of sense. Of course, I love the character of Thrawn. Eli, again, from the first book, I really, really, really like his character. So yeah, those are the main two things really driving this book forward. The things I didn't like are just the plot, some of the shoehorny things that I talked about. Shoehorny, don't like that word. And as I mentioned this earlier, is that there are just really, really drawn out sections of space combat that don't need to be in the book. And it seems like it's just padding. Same thing with the Grisks. The Grisks don't need to be in this book either. It seems like they're going to make an important plot development, but they don't at all, and they're just there to fill up time. So that was something else I didn't really like. And that's pretty much it. It's not really a must-read. If you're someone who wants to go out and read all the Thrawn books, then go ahead and read it, but don't expect the levels of awesomeness that was the first Thrawn book. That book was awesome. The second one wasn't great, and this one's slightly better. Last thing I liked was, again, an Eli moment that I thought was really awesome. Eli and Ronan sort of get kidnapped by pirates on this planet. I know it's a weird B-plot, doesn't make any sense, but whatever, they get kidnapped by pirates. And Eli basically pretends that he's Nighthawk from the first book, and it's pretty weird to see Eli pretending he's a gangster.
Come this way. You're my prisoner now.
No, you can't.
Why not?
Because I'm Night Swan.
Night Swan? Night Swan's dead. Yeah, right. Prove it.
Oh my gosh, Night Swan, sir, I'm so sorry. Let me escort you away. Alright, so that's all I pretty much want to say about the plot without spoiling anything. I'm going to rank the book as I normally do with all my other reviews. I am going to give Thrawn Treason a 6.8 out of 10. I was thinking about giving it a 7, but really that's being super, super, super generous. Even giving it a 6.8 is being really generous. It just really isn't great. I came away from the book feeling better than I did about Alliances. It really falls flat for me. Some people, as I've looked up, enjoy this book more than any of the Thrawn books, which if you do, good for you. It really wasn't for me. If you liked it, let me know what you think, but I really just, it was a real disappointment, especially having read the first book and just loving it so much and then just going downhill from there. Not to slight Timothy Zahn, I don't know if it was his decision to make this plot arc. I think he was just operating within the bounds in which he had, but yeah, the last part of this book is fantastic. So that's what I'm going to get to talk about right now. We are moving on to the spoiler section, so there's your warning. Okay, so when I think of spoilers, oh man, the end of this book, that's what really redeems this book for me. It brings it up to a 6.8. If not, it would probably be about a 6.5 or a 6. So basically, just a brief rundown in case you're sticking along. Admiral Savitt turns out to be a traitor and commit treason, Thrawn treason. And Thrawn decides to listen, which is really, really interesting because as we know, Thrawn can deduct people's motives just by looking at their art. But Thrawn can listen to people's music because music is a form of art, and he can deduct what they're doing from there. So Admiral Savitt is a musician and writes music, and Thrawn could deduct everything he needed to know about Admiral Savitt through listening to his music, and that was really cool.
Great Admiral, there's 3 Star Destroyers approaching us. Should we fire on them?
Hold your fire, Vanto. Now, as you can see, Admiral Savitt is in charge of all 3 of those Star Destroyers, and as you know, I can tell what people are going to do by looking at their art. Now, Savitt isn't a painter, but he is a musician, and just like pictures. Music is its own form of art. So by listening to Savit's music, I should be able to tell what he's doing. Can someone play his music, please?
Oh my God!
Is this Nickelback? Banjo, fire! Fire now! Okay, so that pretty much does it for the review. I'm gonna sort of jump into the conclusion, but I want to say, you know, this book, when I do my reviews, I go back through the book and I sort of reread stuff and remember the plot points. It's just this one, and I've read a lot of books since this book, it really isn't that memorable. And it's unfortunate because I love Thrawn, but it really took me a while to figure out everything that was going to go into this, because it just, compared to a lot of the other books that I'm gonna review and I have reviewed in the past, it just really, really lacks a lot. So yeah, just a few little life updates and channel things. I was originally planned to go to college for the fall semester for my freshman year, but due to COVID-19, it got canceled. So I will be staying here. I have to do it online though, but that's fine. I'm still going to have more time. I'm going to be able to do more reviews and read more books, which is so awesome. I'm super excited to be doing that. So yeah, there's going to be more reviews, and I'm really excited. I'm glad that we've amassed about 100 followers as of now, which is really awesome, or subscribers, whatever you call them. So yeah, I'm really, really excited, and I'm really excited to keep doing reviews and whatnot. What makes me really love doing this is I love reading the books, and doing the reviews just makes reading the books so much more fun because I get to think about them in a totally different way, which is really, really awesome for me. So go ahead and follow our Instagram account if you want some awesome little behind the scenes and updates and stuff about what I'm reading. And yeah, thanks for watching and have a good day.